Star Wars has always had galactic governments that ran large chunks of the galaxy, but which one was the first? The answer lies with a race of Force beings that wandered the stars long before any galactic government took shape. While traversing the galaxy and making contact with other races, these Force beings would construct massive structures to alter the stars, build planets, and more. I'll be going over everything we know about these mysterious rulers long ago, roughly 100,000 years before the Battle of Yavin. These beings would be known as the Celestials. Early in the galaxy's history, the Celestials emerged. The Celestials are entities in the Force, imbued with its power, but also with control over the Force itself. Celestials, being so connected to the Force, can influence it directly and shape it. 3 of them manifested into physical beings known as the Ones. The Ones were a family of 3. The daughter embodied the light side of the Force, the son embodied the dark side of the Force, and the father kept the 2 in check as the keeper of the balance. The origins between these 3 are uncertain, but we do know that they came into existence sometime around 1 million years before the Battle of Yavin. Although very early on in the timeline, they arrived after races like the Chevin, Wookiees, and other species had already begun evolving. Originally, it seems only the father had limitless control over the Force, and warned his children to stay away from places like the Font of Power and the Pool of Knowledge. His children, however, did not heed his warnings, and instead did the exact opposite. The son drank from the Font of Power, and it gave him incomprehensible power through the dark side. The daughter bathed in a pool of knowledge, and it gave her incomprehensible power through the light side. The 2 children then claimed areas of the jungle the 3 lived in, and began fighting each other while the father tried to maintain balance. A young woman would somehow come to the world the Ones resided on. Initially, she became the servant, catering to the Celestials' needs. Eventually, she became the mother, and helped the father mend the relationship between the children. For a time, the Ones lived peacefully and carved out new rooms in the rock where they lived to expand their home. This peace would not last forever. As the mother aged, she could no longer keep the son and daughter from conflict. The children resumed their fighting, and neither the father or mother could stop it. One day, while the 3 were fighting in the courtyard of their home, the mother drank from the Font of Power. Then she quickly bathed in the Pool of Knowledge. The mother emerged twisted by so much power beyond her control, and it transformed her into a corrupted evil spirit with the appearance of a demonic figure. This new terribly powerful being was now Abeloth, the soon-to-be nicknamed Bringer of Chaos and the Destructor for the threat she posed to the entire galaxy. Abeloth quickly lashed out and subdued both the son and daughter, forcing them to kneel before her. The children were quickly saved by the father, who took the son and daughter with him as they departed from their world, leaving Abeloth stranded. As the Ones departed, Abeloth was driven to madness as the abandonment she feared became reality, and the planet itself would soon be twisted by her. Now Abeloth's planet became corrupted by her anger. The plants grew wild, the animals lived in terror, the rivers ran crimson, and lightning plagued the skies. After their incident with Abeloth, the Ones began wandering the galaxy. As they traversed the stars, they met with a few races in various states of advancement. In no particular order, the first was the Gree. Residing in the world of Gree, in the Outer Rim territories, the Gree species is made up of gray-skinned, 6-tentacled cephalopods. Standing about 1 meter tall, the Gree evolved in a Type 2 atmosphere that requires them to wear breathers when operating outside of climates similar to their homeworld. The Gree were a technologically advanced race for the time, allowing them to quickly develop hyperspace technology when compared to most other species. The Gree would take to the stars and explore the surrounding planets around the Gree system. They spread out to see these newly discovered worlds and in turn formed the Gree Enclave, their own section of space within the Outer Rim. These worlds were Asation, Likain, Lanartro, Melanos, Tehasa, and of course, Gree itself. At some point, the Gree launched an automated exploration vessel, the Grey Second, out to study the galaxy for them. This may be how the species caught the attention of the Celestials in the first place, and put the two into contact with one another. But in the meantime, the Gree would rise and reach technological heights few could match as they constructed marvels that would never be repeated. The next race encountered by the Celestials was the Qua. Long ago, in the Outer Rim, on the planet of Dathomir, the Qua emerged. These bipedal, cobalt blue-skinned, 3-meter-tall saurians had innate telepathic abilities. The Qua would develop technology in their own way that allowed for instantaneous travel between places in the galaxy. Star temples, or massive pyramid structures, were then built around and designed to protect the Infinity Gates, housing these gates within the Star Temple's Star Chamber. Within the Star Chamber was a pocket dimension called the Realm of Infinity, and came with a central control station to navigate this infinity. This stellar invention allowed the Qua to make their way to other worlds and ended up creating their own area of space, known as the Qua Holdings. Eventually, the Qua would make their way to the world of Tython, naming it their new home. In the core region of the galaxy, there resided the next species the Celestials encountered. On the planet of Columi, the Columi pursued technological automation. The Columi are a race of large-headed beings who also managed to traverse to the surrounding planets in the core. The species had evolved solely to improve brain power, increasing its size and capacity for thought. In exchange for heightened intellect, their bodies shrank and shriveled to the point that even with a homeworld with extremely low gravity, they simply could not support themselves without assistance. The Columi achieved interstellar spaceflight and surveyed the people of Duro, as well as Natron, now Coruscant. But they were disappointed in the primitive species they found and returned to Columi, where they would stay. The Columi also caught wind of the Celestials and remained in isolation in fear of them. They tried to hide, but ultimately failed in their attempt. Another species that feared the Celestials is the Sharu. On Rafa 5, the Sharu built massive pyramids and spread them to the surrounding worlds in the Rafa system. The Sharu themselves are white-haired humanoids standing about 1.7 meters tall, but possessed some level of mysticism amongst them. With an even deeper fear of the Celestials than the Columi, the Sharu quickly buried their temples and hid away underground. The Sharu then constructed the Mindharp and used crystalline life orchards to drain their intelligence, converting themselves into the primitive Toka, or broken people. Despite using their advanced technology to make it across the galaxy, even as far as Argao, near Coruscant in the core, the fear of the Celestials was too great for them. The Mindharp was left behind as a failsafe for the Sharu, as once a member of another species used the Mindharp, it would re-establish all of their intelligence networks. But until then, and once the Celestials left the galaxy, the Sharu would remain in their underground cities beneath their pyramid monuments for a very long time. Next on the list of species the Celestials made contact with was the Killik. The Killik are an ancient insectoid species that evolved on the planet Yagoi in the unknown regions of space. The Killik species itself is made up of numerous creatures of various sizes. Some of these insectoids are as small as your fingertip, while others are much larger specimens reaching as high as 50 meters tall. Being genetically diverse, they use many different methods of communicating between each other. The most common method is through pheromones. However, methods like heat, electrical, magnetic, and chemical exist as well. Typically, the standard Killik was human-sized and possessed a strong, glossy, greenish, chitinous exoskeleton, complete with a number of spiracles that allowed them to breathe. Each Killik hive also varies in what they focus on. Some Killik hives consist of super warriors, others excel at the construction of their mounds, some mosaic making, subterfuge, and scouting. One thing they all share is a collective hive mind within each hive, allowing every Killik to be linked in purpose. This hive mind could also be extended to members of other species as well. If, per se, a person was exposed in the Killik hive to large amounts of pheromones, it would alter the basic structure of the corpus callosum. This change allows joiners to receive signal impulses directly from the brains of Killiks, effectively making the joiner a Killik themselves, linked to the hive mind. From the planet Yagoi, the Killik slowly spread out across the galaxy in an attempt to establish new colonies. One of the more notable planets they landed on was Alderaan. From Alderaan, they began slowly spreading across to nearby worlds like Alsaken and other worlds down the later known Perlemian trade route in the galaxy. The Celestials also made contact with the now humans of Coruscant and the Tong, but their meetings would be brief. The last race recorded was the Rakata through the Qua. The Qua, with travel made possible by their Infinity Gate, landed on the world of Lihon, a terrestrial world that resides out in the unknown regions of space, and came in contact with the primitive species known as the Rakata. The Rakata themselves are a race of smooth-skinned, amphibian-like humanoids with tall craniums and eyes that protrude outwards on stalks. With the help of the benevolent Qua, the Rakata would begin to hone their species' natural force sensitivity. The Qua would also become the Rakata's benefactors and give the Rakata the knowledge of the Qua's advanced technology. It was through this partnership that the Celestials came in contact with the Rakata and would use them along with a few other races in the years to come. After the Celestials met with the aforementioned races, they subjugated them as servants. As time progressed, the Gree and the Qua began coming into conflict. The Gree, using their hypergates to traverse planets quickly, felt threatened by the nearby Qua's Infinity Gate. The Infinity Gate itself was, as stated before, a means of quickly traversing the galaxy. The Infinity Gate could also double as a superweapon called the Infinity Wave. Through the power of the cosmos, it was possible to direct enormous waves of energy anywhere in the galaxy. The wave itself was able to pull an entire planet into infinity, presumably eliminating all life and destroying matter. A side effect of the Infinity Wave was that all hyperspace travel in the sector the wave hit would be impossible. This tension sparked into all-out war between the two races, and after centuries of conflict between them, Abeloth was able to leave her planet. Thriving on terror, Abeloth made her way around the galaxy spreading destruction and devastation. These acts caught the attention of the Celestials, or more specifically the son and the daughter. Despite the differences between the two, they united in their shared interest to stop Abeloth from destroying the races they cultivated. The two would team up and defeat Abeloth, sending her back to her world several times over the millennia. The son and the daughter then utilized their servant races, specifically the Gree, Qua, Killik, and Rakata, to begin construction of massive space stations. Merging their consciousness with the Killik and granting them the powers of the Force, the Celestials used them as laborers to create Centerpoint Station, the Cosmic Turbine, and Sinkhole Station. Centerpoint Station was the first of these massive structures to be built, and was about 62 miles wide and 217 miles long. This station housed a massive tractor beam projector powered by a large ball of energy called the Glow Point. A tractor beam is a powerful invisible force field. The more powerful a tractor beam is, the greater the mass it could move or hold still. The particular tractor beam on Centerpoint Station was so powerful it could be used to move planets or even destroy them by crushing their cores. Through the power of Centerpoint Station, the Celestials went on to construct the entire Corellian system. The planets created and placed there are Corellia, Salonia, Droll, Talus, and Tralis. Within each buried deep are planetary repulsors, a form of anti-gravity technology which is believed to keep these planets in place among the core worlds. With Centerpoint Station complete and the Corellian system in place, the Celestials then moved on to create the Volter system. To create the Volter system, they used another large station they created and named the Cosmic Turbine. The Cosmic Turbine was another station like Centerpoint, able to manipulate gravity on a large scale through the use of hyperspace tractor beams, repulsor pulses, and hyperspace wormholes. According to record, Volter was the only mentionable world within the Volter system, but like Corellia, took its place amongst the core worlds. After the creation of both the Corellia and Volter system, the Celestials moved on to begin construction of the Hapes cluster. A larger project than before, the Hapes cluster is a grouping of several hundred stars within an area of space known as the Transitory mists, located in the inner rim. The Hapes cluster was home to dozens if not hundreds of worlds that would become isolated due to the transitory mists surrounding the cluster. The transitory mists is a region of ionized space that inhabits travel to and from the region. Thus, it would remain in isolation for a very, very long time on the timeline. The last stop before reaching their final destination was the creation of the Kathol Rift. The Kathol Rift was a nebula, a cloud of dust and gas that was known to blind sensors and make navigation incredibly difficult. Being so difficult to maneuver through due to the high level of dense nebulaic material, the rift itself also induced hallucinations to those who traveled within it, amplifying the hallucinations of any force sensitives. With all of these built and placed, the Celestials moved on towards Abeloth's planet. In order to contain Abeloth, the Celestials used Centerpoint Station to construct Sinkhole Station. Sinkhole Station was very similar to Centerpoint, but was much smaller and would be used as an anchor in the Celestials' next step. To try and fully contain Abeloth on her planet, the Celestials used Centerpoint, and maybe the Cosmic Turbine as well, to pull and place black holes together. Near the planet Kessel, these black holes gathered and created a prison around their enemy. This nearly unnavigatable part of space became known as the Maw, with Sinkhole Station being the key in the center holding all the black holes together. Any ships traveling close to the Maw would be slowly pulled apart, but this wasn't exclusive to just ships. The planets located within or around the Maw would slowly be pulled into the massive radiation, plasma, and strong gravitational forces. With their task complete, the Sun and Daughter returned back from the Outer Rim territories, presumably to put back Centerpoint and the Cosmic Turbine where they had created them. With Abeloth trapped within the Maw and blockaded by Sinkhole Station, the galaxy could breathe a sigh of relief. Or one would think. The battles between the Gree and Quad did not subside, but before they could be resolved, a new threat began to rise in the unknown regions, the Rakata. Over the next tens of thousands of years, the servant races shifted and the Rakata would grow more ambitious. The Rakata would attack the Qua in hopes of taking their technology for themselves, began conquering surrounding systems, and pushed for galactic domination. The resulting chaos would see the Celestials' domain usurped by the Rakata, and the Ones would depart the galaxy around 35,000 BBY. The father took his children to a planet encased in a monolith within wild space known as Mortis. Mortis is a conduit for the entire force of the universe. It is here where the Ones would reside after thousands of years of influencing the wider galaxy, and it is here they would remain. This has been Tarc of Crimson Command Gaming, bringing you the 4th installment in a continuing series of lore videos. Thank you for watching, and I hope you tune in for the next video.